While the two moon men, Gidney and Cloyd, were kept busy making personal appearances and signing autographs, Rocky and Bullwinkle were working furiously to rediscover their lost rocket fuel. But time ran out on them when the moon men got tired of all their fame and decided to go home.
It's so wonderful we can't stand it anymore.
To keep our boys from finding the formula, Gidney and Cloyd made them get into their spaceship and took off for the moon, carrying Rocky and Bullwinkle with them. Up and up the strange craft went, and then suddenly...
Cloyd, what is it? I don't know. I'll check the fuel indicator. Is it empty? According to this, we owe it 2 gallons. Impossible. Stand by to land.
With its fuel gone, the spaceship dropped quickly down.
Bullwinkle, are you all right?
I guess so. Is this the floor where we get off?
It sure is. Come on.
One moment.
You can't scare us with that anymore. If we can't get to the moon, neither can you.
You know they're right, Cloyd. You mean we're stuck here? Looks like. I might as well be Scrooched.
Wait a minute. You know what the rocket fuel formula is, don't you?
Well, yes, but...
Well, why didn't you tell us and we'll make some for you?
Well...
What do you got to lose?
Well, sure, the worst you can wind up with is a mess of fudge cake.
All right, but I certainly wish I knew what happened to our fuel.
Well, if Gidney had happened to glance outside, he would have found out right away. For 2 familiar figures were scurrying off, carrying between them the fuel tank which they had removed from the moon men's ship.
Well, Boris, we have done it again.
I certainly have.
We still don't have the formula.
Who needs it? We got tank of the fuel itself. Now let's check timetable to see what time leaves next submarine.
Meanwhile, back in the disabled spaceship, Rocky had just finished reading the formula for the rocket fuel.
Well, we can get all the ingredients, I think, except this one.
What's that?
Mooseberry juice.
Mooseberry juice. Heck, that's easy.
Oh, not as easy as all that. There's only one place in your whole country where it grows.
Where's that?
Near a little town called Frostbite Falls.
Frostbite Falls!
You know it?
Know it? It's our hometown.
Yup, right here in Minnesota.
Bullwinkle, that's Florida.
Well, if they're going to keep adding states all the time, they can't expect me to keep up.
Minnesota's up here.
Where's Frostbite Falls?
I don't see it.
What's the population?
23?
Here, better use this microscope.
And while Bullwinkle searched for the location of the country's only mooseberry patch, Boris and Natasha were sitting in a rowboat a couple of miles offshore.
Keep your eyes open, Natasha. The submarine should be surfacing any minute.
But, darling, how can I see in all this fog?
You should have eyes like mine, Natasha. They don't miss one teensy-tiny little thing. Big things, yes, but little things, no.
All right, you two, get below. It's all yours.
You're not coming?
You're leaving, he's leaving, I'm staying. Somebody's got to mind the store.
And so the 2 spies carefully stowed the explosive rocket fuel and headed the midget submarine across the ocean toward its sinister destination. While our friends were still figuring out how to get to Frostbite Falls, be sure to see our next episode, A Creep in the Deep, or Will Success Spoil Boris Badenov?
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a shabby little fisherman.
Shabby, but neat.
He lived with a shabby but neat wife on a shabby but neat houseboat in the bay. Every morning, the fisherman kissed his wife goodbye and set out for the sea. One morning, when he was fishing near some odd-looking rocks, he felt a furious tugging on his net. When he pulled it in, he could hardly believe his eyes. He had caught A mermaid, an honest-to-goodness live mermaid.
Oh, joy.
What's so funny, fisherman?
Young lady, you're going to make my fortune. People will pay anything to see a real live mermaid.
But if you take me away from the sea, I'll die of a broken heart.
Are you sure?
It's the usual thing.
Oh, dear, that would never do.
And the fisherman cut his net and freed the mermaid.
Fisherman?
What's the matter? You catch your fins in the net?
No, I've come to repay your kindness.
Oh, that's all right.
I promise to grant you any wish you may ask of me.
Well, I sure do wish this net was mended.
I'll do more than that.
Hey,
And suddenly, the fisherman was holding a beautiful brand new net.
it's true. Oh, wait till I tell Honey Bun.
That night, the fisherman told his wife all that had happened.
Why, I can hardly believe it.
Say, Turtle Dove, why don't you ask me something?
Oh, I don't know.
Go on.
Well, I could use a new apron.
And so, the next day, at the rocks,
Mermaid, mermaid in the sea, will you grant a wish to me? Little poem I just made up.
What is your wish?
Well, my wife would like a new apron.
I'll do more than that. Go, she has her wish.
when the fisherman arrived home, there stood his wife in a golden gown sprinkled with diamonds.
Oh, it's everything I've ever wanted.
But the next day, the fisherman noticed that his wife seemed moody and discontented.
I feel so silly dressing up in a golden gown to do dishes in a houseboat.
It's a nice houseboat,
It's shabby.
but neat.
I don't care. You must ask the mermaid for a better boat.
I don't think...
But I do. Ask her for a boat. A big boat.
So the fisherman returned to the rocks and requested a bigger boat for his wife.
I'll do more than that. Go, she has her wish.
When the fisherman returned home, he couldn't believe his eyes. In place of the houseboat rode an enormous yacht with diamond-studded smokestacks, ruby-encrusted portholes, the sterling silver anchor chain, and on the bow, a twice life-size figurehead of his wife.
Well, she ought to be happy now.
Milady instructs me to dress you for dinner.
But I'm already dressed.
This way, sir.
Oh, isn't this just delightful? You're as rich as a queen.
But if I could be as rich as a queen, why can't I be a queen?
Oh, come on now.
Go ask the mermaid.
But I can't.
Of course you can. Jeeves.
Yes, milady.
And the fisherman suddenly found himself on his way.
You rang.
It's my wife again. She wants to be a queen.
A queen?
Silly, isn't it?
I'll do more than that. Go, she has her wish.
Well, this time, when the fisherman returned, the yacht was gone, and in its place was a solid gold royal barge. On the shore, he could see a fabulous palace.
Oh, I'll bet Sugar Plum is tickled to death.
Kneel, knave, for Her Highness Queen Cleopatra.
Cleopatra? Her name is Gertrude.
Silence! I have another wish.
Oh, no.
If I can be a queen of the earth, why not queen of the universe? Tell the mermaid I want to be a goddess.
No, I'm not going to... Well, if you insist, sweetie pie. Mermaid. Yoo-hoo.
Again, fisherman.
It's my wife. She wants to be... Oh, I just can't say it.
A goddess.
Uh-huh.
Nearly all your wishes have been hers. Have you no wish of your own?
Why, yes. I just want her to be happy.
I'll do more than that, fisherman. That was your last wish.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Go, your wife is happy.
And when the fisherman returned home, there was his old houseboat, just as it used to be, and waving from the deck was his wife, just as she used to be.
Tell me, honey bun, are you happy?
But of course, what more could I want?
Not even a new apron? That one's pretty shabby.
Shabby, but neat.
The moral of this story is obvious, I think. Be content with what you have, or it takes more than wishes to do the dishes.
Last time you remember, Boris and Natasha, those two no-goodniks, stole the secret rocket fuel right off the Moon Men's spaceship, took it aboard a submarine, and headed off across the ocean. In the meantime, Rocky had convinced the Moon Men to show him their formula.
We can get all these ingredients, I think, except this one.
The exception was mooseberry juice, made from the berry of a bush that grew in only one place in the whole country.
Near a little place called Frostbite Falls.
The boys were delighted to hear this, for Frostbite Falls, Minnesota was their hometown. Quickly, they started making plans to get the mooseberry juice. But on the submarine, Boris wasn't as cheerful as he could have been.
Boris, darling, why so sad?
I got feeling there is something I forgot.
What could it was?
I don't know, but something.
Cheer up, darling. When we get back, you will get big medal.
Medals I got for burning down orphanage, for kicking small dog, for taking candy from babies. Who needs medals?
But still is great day.
You're right, Natasha. Send radiogram to Central Control. Ready?
Ready.
Quote. Got it. Unquote.
For same money, you get 8 more words.
Okay. Add this. He 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 he. Signed, Boris. Now what was it I forgot?
So Natasha sent a message and an answer came right back.
You fool. Is for you. Go back and kill moose.
Oh, that's what I forgot.
But how can we?
It's easy, I'm afraid. We put on breathing apparatus, put sub on automatic pilot, and bail out. Geronimo!
And while the two spies swam back toward shore, the submarine bearing its precious cargo continued on its way across the ocean. Back in Washington, our heroes were having a rough time getting underway.
I'm sorry, sir, but we have no flights to Frostbite Falls, if there is such a place.
Oh, yes, we had a train to Frostbite Falls, but they took the tracks up in 1903.
We can't help you. The only road into Frostbite Falls is just a cow path.
What are we going to do? Time is too important. I know. We'll rent a private plane. Come on, Bullwinkle. We're going to the airport.
And in a little while, our boys were talking to the owner of a flying service.
Here, let's see, that'll run you just about $1,000.
$1,000 just to get to Frostbite Falls?
You could buy the place for $8 cash.
Gee, Bullwinkle, what we need is a good cut-rate pilot.
Gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself. Ace Rickenboris at your service. Mein Cart.
Ace Rickenboris, by air, anywhere. Fly now, pray later.
Is misprint.
Haven't I seen your face somewhere before?
Of course you have. He's on every $3 bill the government makes.
I've never seen a $3 bill.
Boh, it's my fault you're poor? Come on, do you want to go or not?
How much will it cost to take us to Frostbite Falls?
You want round trip?
Got any square ones?
Round trip costs, how much you got?
Well, altogether, about 85 cents.
Yeah, you lucky kid. Today only special price 85 cents.
Swell! Ready, Bullwinkle?
The sooner the quicker.
Then let's go. Oh, Miss Callahan.
You called, Ace?
Who's she?
The stewardess, I guess.
Okay, all aboard for Frostbite Falls.
Please, fasten your seat belts.
Well, the wily Boris had done it again. For although our heroes didn't know it, they were only one-way belts, and they were now locked in their seats. Don't miss our next exciting episode, Ace is Wild or the Flying Casket.
And now...
Hey, Rocky! Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like. And now for our moment of culture, here's Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hello there. The name of today's poem is, Where Go the Boats? Dark brown is the river, golden is the sand. It flows along forever with trees on either hand. Green leaves a floating, castles on the foam. Boats of mine a boating, where will all come home? On goes the river, down past the mill. Away down the valley, away down the hill. Green leaves a floating, castles of the foam. Boats of mine a boating, where will all come home? Away down the river, 100 miles or more. Other little children shall bring my boats ashore.
Out goes the bad air, in comes the good.
Green leaves a floating, castles on the foam. Boats of mine a boating, where will all come home?
And now...
Hey, Rocky! Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Peabody here. I believe that every dog should have a boy. That's why I adopted Sherman.
Shall I set the Wayback Controls, Mr. Peabody?
Yes, Sherman, you may set the Wayback Machine for the year 1875.
And the place?
Dodge City. Specifically, the Marshal's office. For today, we visit that legendary lawman, Wyatt Earp. In no time at all, Sherman and I were standing before Marshal Earp. His actions rather surprised us.
You the fellas with the tiddlywink set? Set it right down there on the table till I finish my sword fighting. On guard there, you varmint.
Excuse us, Marshal, but you're mistaking us for someone else.
You didn't bring no tiddlywinks?
I'm afraid not.
Well, then you must have brung a deck of cards.
No, sir, we didn't bring any cards either.
Obviously, you're quite busy, Marshal, but could you take a moment to explain why you're...
Why I'm fencing and going in for tiddlywinks and card games?
Precisely.
Well, I gotta get ready to capture Ace's Wild, the worst doggone bank robbery in Kansas.
You mean you're gonna fight him with a sword?
I'll fight him, challenge him at a game of tiddlywinks, or even go fish. But I'm gonna beat him and bring him in.
Has the possibility occurred to you that he may wish to fight you with a gun?
Well, if he does, then old Wyatt's going to boot hell.
Don't you have a gun?
I got part of one. You see, after every gunfight, I always had a habit of carving a notch on my gun handle. I had so many fights I don't have a handle left. See? Every time I draw, I don't have nothing to grab on to.
Why not buy another gun? Or at least a handle?
Ain't none around. Them things are scarce out here. You fellas ain't got a gun you can lend me, have you?
I'm afraid not.
Well, if an aces don't want to play go fish, I guess I'm a goner.
Suddenly, the door opened.
Marshal, come quick. It's Aces Wild. He just left the bank.
Did he make a withdrawal or a deposit?
A withdrawal. Took every darn cent there was.
Well, this calls for a showdown. Follow me.
And follow him we did. That is, until he misjudged his footing and...
He's out cold, Mr. Peabody.
It's just as well, Sherman.
Yeah, but who's gonna fight Aces Wild?
Belly up to the bar, boys. The drinks is on me.
Well, you better vamoose pronto. Marshal Earp's sure shooting going to come looking for you.
You know what I got for him? A bullet with his name on it.
Look out, Aces. Sounds like the marshals are coming.
Come on in, Marshal. And come on in a-fightin'.
I assume you're Aces Wild?
I be he. Who be ye?
I be Peabody. This is Sherman.
Hi, Mr. Wild.
Where's the Marshal?
He's indisposed. So I've come to take you in.
That's downright funny, that is. Why, I'm the best shot in the West.
I doubt that.
Oh, you do you? Well, get a load of this.
Adequate, but hardly extraordinary.
I suppose you could do the same.
Yes, and without the use of firearms. Hold a glass, please.
How's this?
Fine. So saying, I went to the piano, selected E above high C, and...
Well, I'll be dogged. All right, Mr. Smarty. Let's see you outdraw me. On a count of 3, grab your gun.
But you don't have a gun, Mr. Peabody.
I don't need one, Sherman. Now, if you'll be so kind as to hand me that tray. Good boy. Now, stand aside.
You ready yet?
I will be, as soon as you move directly beneath that chandelier.
What for I gotta stand there?
You'll see.
Well, I guess it don't matter where I stand. What matters is where you fall. 1, 2, 3.
You did it, Mr. Peabody. You beat him.
Of course.
Without firing a shot.
Naturally. And so, after escorting Aces to a jail cell, we said goodbye to Marshal Earp.
Thanks again, Mr. Peabody. You too, Sherman. Adios!
Golly, it sure is puzzling.
What is, Sherman?
Well, how Wyatt Earp got the reputation for being the fastest draw in the West.
Oh, not so puzzling. Wyatt Earp was also an artist, you see. And he really did draw faster than anyone.
In their search for Minnesota mooseberries, a vital ingredient of their lost rocket fuel, our heroes left the moon men and headed back to Frostbite Falls. They decided to fly and hired a pilot named Ace Rickenboris, who bore a frightening resemblance to Boris Badenov, the notorious spy. The stewardess on the plane was named Miss Callahan, but sounded very much like Natasha Fatale, Boris's partner.
Fasten your seatbelts, please.
I take a size 36.
Don't worry, this will fit you perfectly.
The boys didn't know it, but those were one-way seatbelts, and they were now fastened in their seats permanently.
Good evening, everyone. This is your Captain Ace Rickenboris speaking. Welcome aboard Flight 13, the flying casket to Frostbite Falls. Miss Callahan will be serving you hot beverage in just a minute.
You like hot beverage?
My, that was quick. What is it?
Specialty of the line, called a guided missile.
Guided missile?
Yes, just one and you go down in flames.
Sounds interesting. Well, here's looking at you.
But not for long.
Then, just as Rocky and Bullwinkle were about to down the lethal drink, the plane hit an air pocket and dropped suddenly.
Oh, shucks, we spilled them.
As the boys watched, the spilled liquid ate right through the floor of the plane.
Make a nice breeze, no? You like a refill?
Well, maybe just half a cup.
I don't think we better, Bullwinkle. That stuff's a little too strong for us.
Meanwhile, the ancient plane was sputtering along, just narrowly avoiding disaster.
How you making out, Natasha?
The little one is too smart for us, Boris.
So? Then we jump out and leave him strapped in chair. We'll see how good he is at backseat driving.
In the meantime, the submarine carrying a tank of high explosive fuel stolen by the spies drew nearer and nearer to its destination, a foreign port. Its progress controlled on a radar scope by two mysterious figures.
It is exactly on the beam, Gorgie.
You said it.
What heading?
217 degrees.
You sure of these figures?
Certainly.
That's odd.
What?
I get 216 degrees.
What's the matter? You never made mistake?
X-ray! Foreign port disappears in mystery blast!
As a result of the explosion, an urgent message flashed on the air.
Calling Boris Badenov. Calling Boris Badenov. Come in, Boris. The coast is clear.
Unaware that their plan to steal the secret fuel had backfired, the two spies were hastening to do away with Rocky and Bullwinkle by sabotaging the airplane.
You drained gas tank, Natasha?
Check.
Threw out extra parachutes?
Check. You want me to smash instruments?
No. Let me. I like to. Oh, I'm just wild about Boris cha-cha-cha. You go ahead, Natasha. I'll catch up with you in a minute.
And Natasha leaped out of the plane. Back in the cabin, Bullwinkle was admiring the view when suddenly...
Hello there. Nice to see ya.
Who are you talking to, Bullwinkle?
Our stewardess. She just went by in a parachute and...
Parachute? Well, something must be wrong. Here, help me out of my seatbelt. I'm stuck.
So am I. Ain't that the darndest luck, though?
Luck nothing. I think we've been sabotaged.
Meanwhile, in the pilot's compartment, Boris was putting the finishing touches on his job of destruction. He threw out the steering wheel and prepared to jump.
I hate to leave a place that holds such pleasant memories.
And just then, as our boys struggled with their one-way seatbelts, all three engines conked out. Be sure to see our next exciting episode, The Backseat Divers or MASH Landing.